So the Boston Celtics decided to show up and show out in Game 1 against the Miami Heat without Jimmy Butler, who came out today, the reports today from Shams, that he won't be, Jimmy Butler will not play in any game in round 1 of these playoffs. I think that is massive, a massive win for the Boston Celtics and a significant loss for the Miami Heat, who did not really show out very well in Game 1. They lost 114-94 in TD Garden. So the Celtics came out dominant, scoring 44.9% of threes. They made 22 threes, and they became the first team in postseason history to have every player who had a singular minute score at least one three-pointer. So they set some records already in Game 1 of the playoffs. But I want to know, do you think that this performance in Game 1 is a sign of things to come for both the Celtics and the Heat?
I do think so. I mean, Jimmy Butler isn't going to play the whole series. That's a big loss for them. I mean, they weathered the loss of Herro last year, right? He didn't play in any series last year, and they made it to the finals. But they had better talent last year. They just don't have the depth this year, and I think that showed up the other night with Adebayo really being their one and only star out there. 24 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. The other players, nobody really that close to 20. Jacquees had 16 points.
Jaime Jaquez.
Jaquez?
Yeah, Jaquez.
Okay, thanks. Jacquees. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm sorry. 16 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. And then Wright had 17 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, and 2 steals. Where was Tyler Herro? He only had 11 points, right?
Yeah, he shot poorly, yeah.
Yeah, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. Those guys got to play a lot better, and I'm sorry, you're going up against a team that's got a starting 5 of all that could be considered all-stars for the most part, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Jayson Tatum is off to a great start, 23 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and a steal.
Yeah.
And a triple-double to start. That's a great way to get going, and he needs to be good in every game, I think, because there's question marks about him in the playoffs. His past performances with lots of turnovers and then coming up small and in big games and being inconsistent. I think he needs to be consistent out there every game. It's really important for them. I think they should try to go for the sweep in this series, and it's possible now that Jimmy Butler's not going to be playing at all.
I'll say this about the Celtics. No matter what the score was, why didn't I feel confident? I think I'm just looking at recent history and saying no matter what's happening, it's either the Celtics get ice cold or the Heat can outpace you. I never felt confident. They were up by 34 at one point late in the game. I did not feel confident. I felt, okay, they
lost a lot of that lead.
Right, I was going to say, they probably will win this game. But the Heat are always sort of shifty, no matter who's out there. And I think there were 2 massive losses. The first one would be Terry Rozier, who they traded away Kyle Lowry to go get. That's a massive loss because Kyle Lowry, we saw a couple moments even in the Knicks-Sixers series where he's hitting down shots. Game 1, he made a couple crucial threes that kept the score relatively close or extended the Sixer lead. So getting rid of a guy, basically, and then you trade it for the guy who's hurt, not exactly a good thing for you. I'll also say this, the massive loss of Gabe Vincent, who's not having a great series really at all. I don't think he's ever played. He hasn't scored a single point for the Lakers so far. That's a massive loss for the Heat. Caleb Martin also, he's having a down series. Not only that, he's having just the down playoffs in general. There's only 1 game out, but Caleb Martin this entire season has not played very well. Yeah. In the playoffs last year, he averaged nearly 13 points a game, shooting 42% from 3.
He was big in the 7th game against the Celtics.
Massive. He was a large part of the reason why they won. He's shooting 0% so far. He took 4 threes, but he missed all of them. So having a lot of your players not hit shots, Jaime Jaquez, the amount of effort for a rookie he's putting in is actually incredible. Jayson Tatum had his 3rd career triple-double. This is his first time in the playoffs he's had a triple-double. That's impressive. You want him to get on a hot streak because we saw in this game, he still does not shoot the 3 very well. 1 of 8 from 3. Thank God for other players like Derek White and Kristaps Porzingis shooting 4 threes. Sam Hauser, congratulations to him. He shot 4 of 6 from 3. His only shots of the game, 12 points. He had a great game. for his limited minutes. He scored 12 points in about 14 minutes.
The scoring was really well balanced for the Celtics. Brown had 17 points, Porzingis 18 points, White 20 points. You mentioned Hauser 12 points, Horford 10 points, Pritchard 8 points, and they spread the ball around. Brown 3 assists, Porzingis an assist, White 4 assists, Hauser 1 assist, Pritchard 5 assists. So they were playing great. They played great in that game. They did give up the lead. They didn't give it up the lead, but they lost a 34-point lead down to under 15 at one point, I think. So, they got to be careful of that. They've had the problems with that this season, right? Getting way up there and then getting a little complacent, and suddenly the game is closer than they wanted it to be.
Absolutely.
So they got to watch out for that. But they look really good in the first game.
And we saw them against the Cavs earlier this season. I think they were up by 20 late in the game, and all of a sudden the Cavs started hitting shots, the Celtics get ice cold, and the Celtics lost that game as well. So that's what they have to be afraid of, is like this team. I mean, think about this. Without Jimmy Butler after the first quarter, they were only up by 5. They were up 17-2 in the first quarter at one point. Then you end the quarter on a 19-9 run for the Heat. That's not good. And that's without the Heat's best player, hands down. Now, Bam stepped up the best he could. He scored 24 points at 6 rebounds. He tried his best, but he got into foul trouble. He had 4 fouls. Here's where it gets worrisome again. And once again, congratulations to the Celtics. You got one up on the Heat. It's better than what you did last year. You went down 0-3 and nearly mounted a phenomenal comeback in the Eastern Conference Finals. But we have to look at this. If the Celtics, which they are prone to do just because of how much they focus on it, if they start missing some of the threes that they make, what's their option number 2? What's their 2.0 of offense? Because they got dominated in the paint by the Heat, 44-24 points. Heat, Celtics. If you're not hitting your outside shots, who's saying that the Heat can't sustain a lead for a large part of the game? Who's saying they can't steal one from you? That's why I'm nervous. Now, we each picked the Celtics to win this series. And I'm not saying that the Heat are going to all of a sudden upset the Celtics whatsoever. I'm not saying that. Not even thinking it. But if I'm talking about confidence level, like for instance, the Celtics beat the Hawks last year, but it was too close. Some of the games were way too close for the talent versus the actual performance. The 76ers as well. Some of those games were too close. And then they go to the Heat series. The Heat wiped the floor the first 3 games, embarrassed them completely. And then in Game 7, like you said, Caleb Martin went off in a number of clutch threes. Series over. Game 7, He moved on to the finals.
The Game 6 win in Miami was unexpected, right?
Derek White. It was a crazy buzzer beater. And that was the reason that they won. It was a Derek White buzzer beater. Otherwise, that series should have been in 6 games. Instead, they had to be have a massive dud in Game 7. So, yes, this is a tremendous win for the Celtics. Jayson Tatum played okay, still can't hit a 3 for the life of him, and he actually nearly cost them that record. He only hit 1 3 the entire game out of 8 attempts. Huh. So, I'm saying is I'm nervous. I have a healthy level of skepticism.
I'm nervous as well. I think the Celtics' mindset should be blowout in Game 2. Blow them out.
You should.
You got to blow them out. You got to hurt their confidence.
Now, 20 points is a blowout, to be fair. 20 points is a blowout.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about
I'm saying Game 2, it's got to be a blowout too.
Don't let up whatsoever. You're up by 34. You want to win by within 30. Don't let up. I don't care who's out there. I don't care if your bench players don't play. I don't care if they do play. Throw Xavier Tillman out there. I don't care. You have to remain consistent. Don't let up. Because just like every coach, when I played basketball, every coach told me, what you do in practice is what you'll do in the game. Don't let up whatsoever. Because if you let up even an ounce, which they did a number of times in this game when they started getting cold, the Heat get hot and make this game way closer than it has to be. Then you're not necessarily playing catch up. You're just maintaining a level that you need to play in order to just maintain your lead.
The Celtics mindset should be sweep. Got to be sweep.
Without Jimmy Butler,
blowouts. Jimmy Butler, you should sweep.
Absolutely.
Got to have that mindset.
And I would say this: what they sort of did with Giannis, of let Giannis get his, and we're just going to make sure everyone else doesn't do anything. Reverse that. Don't let Bam Adebayo do anything. Let Tyler Herro, who is prone to having poor shooting streaks, let him shoot. Jaime Jaquez, let him do his thing. As long as we take Bam, who is the number 2 player on that team, he doesn't get red hot and all of a sudden score 35 points, we'll be okay. because the Celtics are one of the deepest teams, I think, in the NBA. Because their first 7, 8, maybe even 9 guys are incredible. Absolutely incredible. And they're playing on an 8-man rotation right now.
Yeah.
They're not even putting in some of their reserves. And now Sam Hauser, I think, he's going to get a lot more playing time, because if he could go out and shoot 6 shots, make 4 of them, and all of them are threes, you play 14 minutes nearly and score 12 points, that gets you a lot of playing time. And most importantly, that's in the playoffs. And I think one of his first 3 threes within 5 minutes, and that's when the Heat started to make a little bit of a comeback and made the game too close. Sam Hauser comes up, scores 9 points in 5 minutes, I believe, and all of a sudden you've increased your lead. So as long as they keep that going, if they can continue to hit threes, they should be blowing out teams left and right.
Yeah.
But what's your option 2 if and when the Celtics start missing some of the threes they make? Because Kristaps Porzingis made a couple just catch it, shoot threes that they don't always go in. Let's say Jaylen Brown doesn't go 3 for 5. Let's go, he was 1 for 5. Let's say Jayson Tatum has another poor shooting performance. Let's say Derek White doesn't shoot 50% from 3. What's your option 2? Because you got dominated in the paint 44-24.
Maybe Hauser is a bigger player in this playoffs than he was last year. They didn't let him play much at all last year.
So what, he'd be like the Grant Williams Game 7 against the Bucks, where he just goes out and shoots threes all day, makes a bunch of them?
Could be.
You're hoping that.
Peyton Pritchard didn't play much last year, right? He's done much better this year. They had him in there. He did quite well.
They also signed to a decent extension as well, so he's going to be there for a number of years.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday, not the offensive piece I think they were even expecting, but defense. I mean, in this game, he scored. He scored 6 points in this game. Wasn't great. He shot 2 of 8, but it's the defense. As long as everybody fits their roles and remains consistent, the Celtics should be blowing out teams. Because I think this is the 4th most amount of wins in Celtics history. Remain consistent.
They don't
is all
get to
I'm
the
asking
finals.
for.
It's a failure.
I would agree with that. But all I'm asking for, as a guy who's picking the Celtics to win this series, I believe in 5, don't go over your head. Just remain consistent, and you should be perfectly fine. Don't do too much.
Hopefully they're listening.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.